Hi, folks. A little message from Erin, one of the hosts here of Lights On. I'm just editing the conversation we had with Amanda's daughter, MacKenzie, realizing it is big and important. So I'm breaking it into three parts. So the first part is going to be on the importance to MacKenzie and other survivors of having photographic evidence of what happened in those first few days and how that's very helpful to personalize their experience after the fact, as well as to make their rooms feel real cozy when possible when they're in the hospital. So stick with us for this first part. Join us for the second episode, which will be available at the same time. And that's going to be on ways to help somebody who can't advocate for themselves to feel safer. And then the third part will be on her experience of reintegrating as a young person back into high school, as well as things that she wished that her caregiver mother would have known at that time. So stick with us. Thank you so much for being here.
Back to Lights On, a Neuromoms Collective podcast, a space where caregivers of TBI survivors can exhale for a few minutes.
We are your hosts, Erin and Amanda, and today's episode is incredibly special. We're talking about those first few days after a TBI from the survivor's perspective.
We are honored to have my daughter MacKenzie here with us. MacKenzie was 16 years old when she was in a traumatic car accident. We've talked a little bit about that in the earlier podcast. She was in the car accident with her sister, Sadie. MacKenzie sustained some significant injuries. She fractured her C2, had skull fractures, face fractures, spinal fractures, had to learn to walk again, just an assortment of different injuries, but definitely was resilient and learned how to overcome a lot and found glimmers in those early days.
Oh, MacKenzie, we feel so grateful that you are here. All right, Amanda, what do you think?
Oh, all right. We want to talk about these conversations, and we also want to be very sensitive to you, MacKenzie, and everything that you've gone through. The beginning of these times can be full of confusion, gratitude, humor, anger. There were just lots of different things. And so as we have these conversations, please know that we want to be sensitive to how you felt and your memories. Feel free to say whatever you need to say as we're going through this.
Because we really think, MacKenzie, that you're going to be able to help lots of other young people that are in similar situations to what you were. It's so unusual and isolating. We know, your mom and I have talked about this a lot. We know as caregivers that we did the best we could, but that it wasn't flawless. If there's a chance for you to share with other families something that would have made the experience less painful or better for you, then we want to hear that as well. You can pause anytime that you want because this was a real nightmare that you and your family lived through.
We're proud of you for being here and we're grateful for that. We just want to start with what helped and what maybe didn't help as your first memories of being in the hospital and having people taking care of you.
Yeah. The first thing I think of is that those first couple days in the hospital are rather blurry. I think, like most TBI survivors, was in a coma. So I don't remember those first couple days in the hospital. But something that I really appreciated that my mom did was to take pictures, because it was like we didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know if I was going to die or if I was still going to be around or if I was going to remember these moments. For me, I don't remember those moments, but there are so many pictures of those first couple of days in the hospital that helped me put the pieces together as I was rebuilding some of my memories in the following weeks, months, and even years. Looking back at those days helps me put all the pieces together. I had a lot of friends that visited me at the hospital. As much as life slows down and stops for us, it doesn't for everyone else outside, and that is real. Keeping friendships and relationships looks very different, especially if you're in a hospital bed or unable to be mobile. Couldn't walk on my own, so hanging out with friends a little bit more difficult. And some people don't want to come and sit at a hospital, and that's going to be the case for some. But trying to find people to come and do shifts at the hospital was really helpful. Just help me feel a little bit more normal, give my family a break, but not too long of a break, because then turns into another situation. I didn't like it when she left me for too long. She was definitely my safety person. Having her there at the hospital all the time was also really important, even though she needed breaks.
I think that's so important. Starting with the photography, I took pictures of everything for my son. He was in a coma, and even when he was out of a coma, I can't remember all the details. And I felt a little awkward at some times taking really personal photos, with close ups of his incisions in his skull and trying to make artful shots as well as documentary type shots. I hoped he would value those. Some things are just hard to look at, gross and painful. I wanted there to be an elegance so it wasn't so jarring to him. I'm glad to hear you say it didn't feel too intrusive.
No, and I would say I would have loved more. I think there's different stories from the hospital that I remember that I wish I had some visual images for that I don't, just because I couldn't see or my eyesight was always at the ceiling. And so there's these stories of different things that I don't have visual images for. I think with TikTok and Snapchat around now, videos are a little bit more popular, but I don't really have many videos of me when I just started learning how to walk or just started learning how to talk. Sometimes I easily forget the hard days at the hospital. It would be nice to see how far I've come and just how far my speech was progressing, how bad my speech was at one point, or how minimal my speech was at one point, how much I slurred at one point, how much I was limping my walk, the development of these things. I'm such a visual person, so it would be nice to have more videos of those things.
Do you take a before and after when you redo a room?
Yes.
I do too. But when you've lost so much, right? And you've had to go back to walking and so many basic functions, it's really hard to see those incremental improvements. And those videos and photos would have helped. Your mom would have had to have carried an old camcorder on her shoulder back then to get the videos.
Yes.
Amanda, when you were taking the pictures, what were you thinking at that time? Were you thinking it was for her or for you, or just what was your motivation?
It was for her. I remember an exact moment standing in the PICU and thinking, oh, I need to take a picture of this because she's going to want to see what it was like after her brain surgery. That was my exact thought, thinking this is going to be for her to see where she was and what things looked like. Initially, when I first saw her after the accident, I didn't recognize her. I did not have a picture of that. I was just standing in the room and I'm like, oh, I better take a picture. She's going to want to see this. At that point, we didn't even know if she was going to make it. I tried to capture it. I didn't go to a lot of therapy with you because I couldn't handle it. So there wasn't a lot of opportunities to capture some of those things. But definitely, I think moving forward in MacKenzie's life, those pictures and videos are so important. So we do try to capture them now in all different arenas so that she has them to put together and hold on to her memories, because her memory is a bit of a struggle still. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, that is the end of part 1 of our conversation with MacKenzie. She's so amazing. We hope that you enjoyed this and that you'll join us for parts 2 and 3 of our conversation with her. If you like this, and we hope that you did, please like and subscribe. We can be found on YouTube, at our website, Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere else that you can download podcasts. And as always, look for those glimmers and keep the lights on. Thanks for being here.